always giving cause he's got a big heart. The co-host won't boast, but he can stand on his own. From the state of Iowa, it's that man Kent Jones. He's impressive on the mic and he don't need a cord. And whether hosting or he's hooping, he's controlling the boards. And the one feeding a hungry herd of Americans, make you feel right at home like he's your best friend. Though he's not a city slicker, he's as cool as the fun. Just a witty wisdom giver, Mr. Rancher Run. Set the tone for your day and get in the zone. Tune in
Two bald guys and a microphone.
Welcome in Monday morning. No better way, well, maybe orange juice, but no better way to start your day, unless you're a smoker, and then a cigarette sometimes.
Bloody Mary if you got a hangover.
If you have a hangover or golfing.
Yeah,
sometimes.
To
start the week right here with two
bald guys
and a microphone. Of course, we want to do a quick shout out this morning to Mr. and Mrs. Eric Mason, dear friends of ours. You're going to see Eric up here behind us. Eric is, of course, mobile accounting. He's our accountant here. Good friend. You had the honor to do the ceremony to wed those two. So congratulations, Eric and Stacy. An awesome day. Just an awesome day.
I'm sure as your wedded life has started out, you're up this morning listening to two
bald guys and a microphone. Hopefully you're still together.
I've got a pretty good track record.
You know, the main cause of divorce.
Getting married?
Yeah, getting married. Exactly. Of course, we want to give a shout out to our good friends and longtime supporters over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center, www.mchenrymassage.com, 815-385-8190. Now listen to this. This is not funny. This is exciting. Natural Therapy Wellness Center voted best of the FOC for massage therapy.
Imagine that for how many years in a row?
That is amazing. They do a great job. We absolutely love John and the team over there. If you're stressed, if you maybe have a little bit of pinch or tight back, you have some stress, even if you don't think you need that, it's funny how your body carries stress. Go see John and his team over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. Again, www.mchenrymassage.com.
Even if you feel good, go feel better.
Why not? Hey, we are we're talking about laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. This is episode 2.
Yeah,
on laughter is best medicine. You had our good friend on last week who found Dave Chappell. And JT, we love you. Thanks for getting the doors open. If you want to come back, come on back anytime. Why is laughter so important?
Well, first of all, it feels good, right? You can't ever feel bad when you're laughing. There's a lot of physical benefits beyond just the feel good. When you're laughing, your body's producing dopamine, serotonin, other hormones that balance your life out and clear out some of the negative energy that's going on in your system.
Yeah.
Laughter, I think laughter is important. I think from a sales perspective, when you can use humor in your presentation, you can connect better with your prospective clients or customers. There's a lot of reasons that laughter is good. What's a couple that coming to mind for you?
It's fun.
That's it.
Yeah, it's fun. And it creates wrinkle lines.
It creates wrinkle?
Yeah. Right around the eyes. See that? See that? They call it crow's feet, but it's really from laughing. So if you see somebody who's got, the crow's feet right around the eyes, you know that they've laughed a lot. Right?
Back in the day, there was a movie, I'm sure we all watched it when we were little, and they just did a remake on it, Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins.
And there was a scene in there where it was talking about laughter.
Yeah.
Dick Van Dyke was floating up to the ceiling, and they're just having a good time.
Why is it that whenever you talk about Mary Poppins, everybody tries to do just that English? Little Mary Poppins.
Poppins.
Right? I don't know. The other cool thing about it is if we take a look at today, Monday, the day after the Bears played the Packers or went to Lambeau Field. Anyway, there's going to be so many arguments between workers, especially in this area, because we're right near the Wisconsin border. And there's a good amount of Packer fans as there are Bear fans. And it's going to be funny to watch how and on social media, of course, how everybody wants to pick things apart. And, it's insane. And you have to laugh. There's so much divisiveness in the world today, whether it's from I think the world is flat to Joe Biden is a robot to
that's a pretty poorly designed robot if that's the case.
So there's a lot of the reasons that we need to laugh, and people just, it draws people closer together. I always say that there's no you're the closest you are to anyone is when you're laughing.
Yeah.
Right.
You just got back from man camp.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was no laughing happening.
Oh, there probably was. There probably was. I don't remember much, but there probably was. Then I say that because I was sleeping most of the time. It was wonderful.
You've been a busy guy.
Yeah. So it draws people together. Laughter draws people together, and emotionally changes, and emotional changes in the body, especially, right? Oddly enough, as I've been playing around with this, laughter strengthens your immune system.
It does. And
I didn't ever know that. No wonder I'm had COVID too. But yeah, it boosts your immune system. It boosts your mood. It diminishes pain and protects you from the damaging effects of stress. We do everything here at 216 that Natural Therapy Wellness does through laughter.
Except we don't get naked on a table.
No. Is that well, maybe. You never know what's off camera.
What you're going to find here.
Or if you're just tuning in on the radio, you never know. It's called Two Bald Guys for a reason.
Several years ago, I did a presentation on laughter.
Yeah.
For the Trinell Financial, and I had so much fun putting that together, because when you go out and do just a little bit of research, you'll find out that 5 minutes of belly laughter, deep,
right,
where you just can't breathe, is equivalent to walking a half hour on a treadmill.
Really?
It burns as many calories.
No kidding.
I'm like, all right, well, let's
Sweet.
just put on a funny cats video and go to town. The immune system, it boosts the immune system. It creates connections with people, with individuals. Yeah. There's so many things that laughter can do and will do for you. The thing with my grandchildren, I mean, my grandchildren are laughing all the time.
Yeah.
And it just, sometimes I always know when the two 14-year-olds are in the back seat and they're not laughing, and they're getting in trouble.
Yeah.
If I can hear them giggling, they may be looking at something, but at least I know that they're behaving themselves for the moment.
Well, and it's said that it relieves tension, physical tension and stress for up to 45 minutes after.
Wow.
After. So my go-to, my daughter, of course, Ashley, clinical psychologist, she says, oh, this is where Dad, he's going to throw in a joke. And I guess I do that because I don't like stress. So in stressful situations, I'll revert to saying something funny or laughing because I guess I don't like stress. So there. Now I know why. It relaxes me. It's
sometimes when things are too quiet, when you're in an uncomfortable situation, stress can, it can just relieve the mood in the room.
Yeah. Yeah, and it should.
And why did I get in so much trouble in class when I?
Yeah. And of course, that if everybody else is laughing and you're not, well, then there's probably an issue too. Oh, burns calories, you said.
Yes, it does.
Of course, it's not I mean, unless you're at a show over at the Vixen with comedians, but it's not a replacement for the gym. But for laughing for 10 to 15 minutes a day, you can burn approximately 40 calories.
You'll burn some.
Yeah.
It's better than burning none.
Yeah. Now, what happens when you, holy cow, geez. Alex, good morning. Woke up today with some acid reflux, so I thought I'd join you. Heard us in the background. I threw up just a little.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
I got my Bears cup so we can celebrate laughter this morning.
Yeah, it's hey, but your Lions looked like a football team yesterday,
yeah,
Alex.
Last both weeks they've looked like
they're looking good. That's it. Then Alex, good morning. Of course, he's out on the West Coast, so it's bright and surly out there. That's it. But I think he's in his house now. I don't know. I think they moved in.
Maybe he'll tell us.
It's funny because out in California, you get a lot of those DIY projects where in a week they build a house, remodel a house, or whatever. I think that's what happened to you, isn't it, Alex? Took you a week to do that? Not really. Alex says, what about the people who use laughter about themselves for self-effacing humor?
That's a common tool used in comedy.
Yeah.
A lot of stand-up comedians, if they have a
he says it only took 1 week plus 17 months.
They've got a stutter, so they make that the
sure,
and they're hilarious most of the time.
There's a comedian out there right now. He was on America's Got Talent, and he's got cerebral palsy. Have you seen this guy?
Yeah.
And he's a trip.
Yeah,
he's truly, his comedic timing is great, and he is funny as anything. And it's great to watch the crowd because they're like, that's really funny, but is it okay to laugh? Yes, he's a comedian. It's okay to laugh. It just, as long as it's funny. If it's awkward,
yeah,
then it's like, oh boy, that's.
I'm sure there are some who have tried,
yeah,
who have failed miserably at making fun of their handicap. Josh Blue, great, but for the non-comedians, the latest guy, Winfield, Jimmy Winfield, is just on America's Got Talent, made it to the finals this year. He's got teeth that are like 2 inches long.
Oh.
And he uses that all the time. He says, I was watching him the other day, and he says, in my mother's bedroom, so I grew up in a really tough part of the city.
Yeah.
And I was in my mother's bedroom, and I reached under the pillow, and there was a gun, a pistol. He said, the Tooth Fairy is delivering guns these days. And then he smiles and says, I'm going to get a bazooka for these things. But it's a way for a comedian to always break the ice. And, even people at a business meeting or something who are trying to lighten the mood. Yeah.
I think too many people take life way, way too seriously. And it's a great release. It's incredible.
I'll put up this next comment Alex just posted. He says, I feel like without good self-therapy, it can be a damaging thing. And I'm sure there's some truth to that. But the guy who's out there doing it on a stage, he's well beyond that. The guy who might be attempting to do it in a bar over a Bloody Mary, that may be another
That's
issue.
all in the timing.
Yeah, it is.
If you don't have good comedic timing, it can be damaging, right? Also, if it's the same joke.
Over and
over. All right, here comes the one about being bald. Yep. There it is.
Oh, look at the cue balls.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it can be, but again, I think that goes back to timing, placing. There are times when I'm sitting with the C-suite at the bank, so CEO, CFO, all the C's, and I'm having a conversation in my head, going, "Don't say it. Don't. This is not the place. Just bite your lip. Write it down. Write it down."
And I know the C-suite very well, so it's
yeah. There's a time. There's a time and a place.
Well, then it's like, no, don't write it down, because then they have evidence.
Right. Write it, erase it. You send it to yourself in a text, delete it. Yeah, it's crazy. But I don't think that people laugh enough today. There isn't enough laughter. You shouldn't have to. If you find something funny, you should laugh your ass off at it and not worry about if you're going to hurt somebody's feelings or whatever. And there's the old bumper sticker, right? F you if you can't take a joke. And you there's a time, a place, it's timing, it's everything of that nature. But it's not destructive. If I'm trying to be funny to belittle you or make you look bad in front of a group, then that's just a mental issue that I have, right? You shouldn't. However, if the timing's right, and I'm a heckler in the crowd, and you're a comedian, now that's a whole different thing. You use humor in your wedding ceremony.
A lot of it,
right?
But I use humor to pique the emotions, and then lock in that moment. And I explained that to the couple in our pre-wedding meeting. We're gonna have some fun, but then it's gonna get real serious real fast. And that's the emotions, keeping those emotions high. And there were several people after the ceremony came up and really appreciated that moment after the vows and the unity ceremony, where I just stop everything and say, okay, stop, freeze, look in each other's eyes now, lock in this moment.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention.
You were on video.
I was videoing. That'll be an interesting video as well. I hope they have fun with it. We'll put some music to it, and it'll be kind of a blast. It'll be kind of a cool thing.
And what music are you going to put to it?
I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe a couple different licks in there, but who knows, right? Most laughter, in my research, does not come from hearing jokes, but rather just simply spending time with friends and family.
Amen.
And this social aspect of laughter plays such an important role in health benefits for everyone. You can't enjoy a laugh with other people unless you take the time to really engage with them. Highway to Hell. That's right. So I'll pick on Alex. He and I know each other really well. It was brilliant. But if you don't understand his wit, people are, man, what a jerk. And so I have been in meetings with him over the years when he will say something, and I'll be the only one in the room laughing because I know who he is. And it's brilliant when he does use humor. You'll see it in his 1 week and 17 months type of a thing, and it's always pretty well timed out, and things are funny. But it seems that when you use humor in a professional setting, just to even lighten the mood, that's a gamble. That's a gamble, right? And if everybody in the room laughs except the boss, is it still funny?
Depends on what happens the next day.
Yeah.
And let me give you an example of that. I had I was in the officer candidate school, and our guest speaker for the evening was General Holsinger, 2-star general commander of the state of Illinois. And I was the guy who introduced him.
Yeah.
But prior to the introduction, I had a lot of basically a vaudeville act going on, and we were just having a good time. And I had taken the time to really design this and plan it out and get everybody involved. And then it's time for the speaker. And so I introduced him, and he's got a sheet and a half of introduction, Korean names where he was a fighter pilot that I couldn't even announce and pronounce. And then I said, and finally, General Holsinger, I'd just like to say, when I grow up, I'd like to be just like you. And I turn over the microphone. He steps up with, like 8 pages of notes. He gets halfway through the first page, and he goes, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm having such a good time tonight. He looks at me, he goes, candidate, do you have more in store for us? I said, absolutely, sir. He says, well, get back up here and go. And so I did. And the night was just an absolute, probably the best thing I designed up to this day. And the next day, Major Hanold calls me into his office. And I'm going in there thinking I'm getting an attaboy. And I get in, and he locks my heels, and he writes me up one side and down the other. And he basically said, son, if your guest speaker stutters, you better stutter worse. You never outshine the guest speaker. Right?
Whoops.
And for the general to defer back to you is like the major military faux pas. And I was like, but everybody had a good time. He goes, that's not the point. This is the military.
You stole his thunder, son.
We're not here to have a good time.
Yeah, you stole his
We
thunder.
were there on the way out the door after he released me. He goes, Stuart, and I turned around and he goes, nice job last night.
Nice job last night. Alex says, I feel like I have to play down nowadays. There are 2 trains of thoughts. I can either be me and beat my own drum and build a circle around me and totally alienate the others. Alienate the others who can't find my rhythm, or I can listen to other people's beats, find it annoying, but clap for them anyways. That's the whole thing about comedic geniuses, right? And I love watching America's Got Talent because there's always a lot of comedians on there, and when it's edgy, you get let's say you get a black person on there, or any person that's a minority, and they're making fun of their minorityism.
Black guy making fun of black people.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll see the white judges are like, you see they want to laugh, but then they're like, I don't know if I should, because the kid, no, that's funny. Go ahead and laugh. Like, can I laugh at that, or then am I racist? It's fun. It's fun to watch. And there are comedians that I don't find funny at all. I mean, there are some comedians that I just don't find funny at all. I love Jerry Seinfeld. I think Jerry Seinfeld, the sitcom, was great.
Yeah.
I can't watch his stand-up. I don't find him funny at all.
I think I've seen him stand up maybe once.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of it. So
yeah. So the writing and the supporting characters on the show were great, and that was a great. Like Laurel and Hardy, it was just a great team.
It's another fine mess you've gotten us into, Oliver.
But when you go back to like season 1, season 2, season 3 of Seinfeld, where they opened up with him doing stand-up, I'm like, and still today, if I watch a stand-up, I'm like,
well, it's a joy of the fast forward button.
Right. Like, I don't know.
Some of the other things, laughter produces endorphins.
Yeah.
It protects the heart. Laughter improves the function of blood vessels and increases blood flow, which can help prevent against heart attack and other cardiovascular issues.
Yeah.
It burns calories. It's fun. Some other benefits. Laughter causes you to gulp in large portions of air, thereby oxygenating your blood.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the last time that you were laughing so hard you almost couldn't breathe? That's probably the healthiest laughter there is for you.
Yeah, I've been there.
Strengthens the immune system. When we laugh, our body releases hormones and chemicals that have positive effects on our system. One of those chemicals, the feel-good hormone endorphin, is the ability to bring that to an audience. I had JT on last week where you were up at Man Camp, and I've seen his routine multiple times, as a variety of routines. And the one thing he always has in common is that ability to read the crowd. What is this crowd going to think is funny? So he'll throw out there a couple of test jokes.
Yeah.
And then he'll measure the response, and then okay, they laughed at this one. Let's go down this path. However, I did have him come speak at the Relay for Life shortly after he developed prostate cancer. And since it was cancer and he had prostate cancer, that was what he did, was a routine on prostate cancer.
Yeah.
Well, the prostate's involved in many things that are not multi-generational humor type.
Right.
And I was looking for the gong. I was looking for the hook.
Yeah.
But I mean, I found him very funny, but the mothers with young children there were like, huh?
Right. Alex asks us, what is who is right now the best edgy comedian, and who is the best holistic comedian today in our minds? That's easy for me. I think the best edgy comedian is Bill Burr. This guy is brilliant. He wrote, he was a writer for the Chappelle Show. He is edgy, and you have to appreciate his timing, humor, and just craziness. Absolutely think he is a stitch. And the best holistic out there, and I follow on social media, Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, I love Jim Gaffigan. His skit on bacon is off the charts.
But Gaffigan, I don't know what it is about him. I connect with him, and he's pretty clean, doesn't drop too many F-bombs. Now, on the other hand, Bill Burr will. And if you want to ask, there's so many greats, but Dave Chappelle is brilliant. I mean, he is both edgy and holistic, and boy, if you go back and you listen, because his comedy makes you think, you really kind of think. But
we were on a cruise ship a few years ago. I officiated Frank's daughter Rachel's wedding, and they had a comedian, and the comedian had shows at 5:00 and 11:00 p.m. So let's go to the 5:00 before dinner and see what we do. Well, we went to the 5:00, and it was holistic. It was clean. It was funny. It was good. We were laughing, had a good time. Let's go see him again 11:00. That'd be fun.
See if he does the same set. Yeah.
His 11:00 set was the adult set when all the kids are in.
Yeah.
Now he was off the charts. But again, he knew his audience, and he brought what the audience expected.
What's his name? Regan. He's funny too, and he's pretty holistic and clean. Regan. I don't know how you say that. And I forget, Brian, I think is his first name. Funny guy. And then I love TikTok because I follow like some of the comedy stores or whatever, and there are just great, funny people out there, and all you're getting is maybe a 1 to 3 minute clip of them. But there are some 3-minute clips that I will laugh at. Hey, Jen, good morning. Jen says comedy is allowing yourself to go to a place with suspension of disbelief for a dedicated amount of time in a safe space. You're surrounded by like-minded people and don't have to explain yourself. Absolutely. And just to play off of that, it's actually your birthright. Speaking of birthright, yes, Jen had a birthday this past week, I believe. I believe so. Happy birthday, Jen. Yep, I believe so. Jen's 29, which is and great. A half. Yeah, 29 and a half. But yeah, so laughter is actually your birthright. It's a natural part of life. It's innate to the newborn.
Yeah.
right? Infants begin smiling during the first weeks of life and laugh out loud within months of being born before they can even speak.
It's just gas.
Yeah, right. No, it is. Excuse me. Sorry. You can't smell that. It's radio. It's good. But yeah, so infants, they start laughing, and we as parents and as adults, hey, tickle them or whatever to get them to laugh. And if you could bottle that laughter, oh my gosh, it's so awesome.
Funny cats videos and babies laughing are probably the two most popular things on or what is it, YouTube.
Yep. I mean, it's just, there's nothing more pure than just watching an infant, just start laughing, which is good. Alex says, I would say the same. Bill Burr is just a step below Chappelle right now, but Dave is the best. I actually learned from Dave. That's where you can take genius. Yeah. Yep. Where you can see things a different way by just being receptive to it through laughter. Absolutely. And that's that. I mean, in the research that I've done, that's a big thing on how it strengthens relationships. How you can take a tough situation right now and get people to laugh and go, but wait, maybe he's right. You know what I mean? It's that, oh yeah, okay. Which is fun, I think. And that's why I use laughter, because I always want people to be happy.
Right.
I don't like unhappy people. Right. Jen will appreciate this because she's very close to these two people that I'll talk about. Ron White as well. Never disappoints. I've been watching some of Ron White's old rookie stuff when didn't look like Ron White. He had a mustache. He was fat. Oh my God. It was something else.
Here's your sign.
Oh, he is. Yeah, he's good. Tater salad, right? I think
tater tot.
They call me tater salad.
That's when I had the right to remain silent, but I didn't have the ability.
I wasn't drunk in public until they threw me out of the bar.
I was drunk in private.
Ron White's brilliant as we butcher his stuff. So right now in my house, my daughter Ashley is engaged, looking to get married next August, and there is a little bit of stress between Alice and Ashley, and I'm sitting there kind of as an outside observer, and I'm using some humor, and they're both getting a little bit annoyed with it. And then finally I'm just like, listen, I'm going to tell the both of you this right now. I said this last night. I look at him and go, this is going to be the best day of your life. It ain't going to be perfect. Stop trying to make it perfect. Somebody's going to do something. Something's going to happen. It does every wedding day.
Everyone. And I've done over 70 weddings.
Doesn't
Something
matter.
Always happens.
So I said, there is a point where the venue doesn't matter. There is a point where the food doesn't matter. There is a point where the beer doesn't matter, the music. The point is that you are bringing these two families together, and that's the beauty of it, right? And they're getting annoyed with me, but I'm like, all right, I'm just going to walk around and prove that it's not going to be perfect. Will it be your dream wedding? Absolutely. But I go, Alice, you and your mom were stressed out at our wedding 30 years ago. It didn't nothing. There's some things you need to enjoy it. Yeah, the beer though, I know, as long as it's cold. But it's you have to enjoy it. This is a fun ride, and spend the time as mother and daughter planning this. It's every little girl's dream is her wedding day, right? Or nightmare, and and it's fun. So, but they're stressed out. We don't even have a venue yet.
We're doing the same thing as my granddaughter is getting married, so I'm getting to watch it from a multi-generational view, where my wife is now the mother of the bride.
Yeah.
And she still has, she's been through a lot of weddings. She's got a lot of advice.
Yeah.
And
but she doesn't know.
And she struggles holding on to that until they ask for it. And when they ask for it, it's perfect. But
Yeah.
when you give it before it's needed, so it is. But to your point, the first wedding I did after Frank and Christina's, they did a cupcake holder that looked like a wedding cake instead of a wedding cake. And so one guy brings in the cupcake holder and set it up, and the bride's little sister was like 15. She's bringing in the big box of cupcakes. She trips over a rug, and the cupcakes go everywhere.
No.
And I was speaking with the groom, having a conversation about some of the things you can expect throughout the years, and out comes the bride in blue jeans and the veil.
Yeah.
In tears. And she's like, she dropped the cupcakes. The groom says, so what would you like me to do about it? And she just breaks up. I mean, she's bawling. She runs away, shoulders heaving, and he goes, what did I do? They said, you didn't listen to what I just told you 2 seconds ago. I said, you're the only one who can fix this now. You need to chase her down. Wedding happened an hour and 45 minutes late. Somebody made a trip to Jewel, and they had this the oddest wedding cupcake stand you ever saw. But every single wedding, something happens. And if you try to make it perfect, again, part of my coaching to them is if you'll put as much time and effort into the marriage as you do the wedding, it'll last forever.
Always. Alex says it's one of the most tribal instincts we have to find people we know, like, and eventually trust. We find commonality through. He then asks, he says, what do you say about the people who have made you laugh for generations but get canceled for things they did generations ago?
I'm talking about Bill Cosby.
Case in point, for example, Bill Cosby. Still funny?
Oh, look at there.
Absolutely still funny.
Still funny. Still timely.
He is. You go back and you listen to his brilliance was brilliant as well back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
The guy on HBO, Bill Maher.
Yep.
So Bill Maher just put out a post, and he's like, he calls it presentism. Right? Being present. He goes, for some reason today, and Google it, look it up on TikTok, whatever. And I'm going to butcher this, Bill. So first, thanks for listening. But second, sorry that I'm butchering it. Go ahead and go. You can punch in the comments, Bill. So he says it's called presentism or something like that, where today, people today think that we have to use today's standard for things that happened 200 years ago.
Yeah.
He says we're Christopher Columbus. Were they audacious and ruthless and yeah? He goes, but most people were then. That's the way the world was, So. To your point, Bill Cosby back in the 60s, 70s, absolutely hilarious. 11 o'clock a.m. every Saturday, Fat Albert was on. And what is Fat Albert?
Hey, Fat Albert.
We're going to have some fun and maybe learn a thing or two before it's done. We've taken that here at Two Bald Guys, that edutainment, and said we've got to grow off that. Is it unfortunate? Yes, it's unfortunate. Is it wrong? Today, yes. I don't know the whole situation, right? And the 60s and 70s were a different time in America, just in America. I'm watching a show called Aquarius. It's out on, I think it's Netflix. If you're not watching it, it's a good one. It's got Michael Duchovny, the guy from X-Files, I think. Okay. David Duchovny, whatever his name is. Michael David, whatever. And
sorry to butcher your name, Michael David.
Yeah, but thanks again for listening. But it's called Aquarius, and it's the story of Charles Manson. true. They've taken true events and made them fiction by changing names and whatnot. But it's cool. But go back and watch. That's in the late 60s, early 70s, and you're going to be like, oh, what did you just? Oh, that was a different time, right?
Go watch a little Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Don Rickles in today's world.
And he'll get you laughing for sure. He tore everybody apart.
Oh yeah, he was non-discriminatory.
He just sprayed bullets. Speaking of comedy, looking back, some of the creative wedding photography, absolutely, and dresses and outfits. What is? I don't think Bill had acid reflux on the West Coast like I do. Yeah. Do you consider Dr. Seuss in the same light? Absolutely. And I've memorized so many Dr. Seuss books, and just because the guy is a racist doesn't mean that the books necessarily were bad either. Is there a hidden agenda in them? I don't know. I've read them. Green Eggs and Ham. I
do not like them, Sam. I am. I do not like.
You know, you tell me. So yeah, we ran the world differently in 1948 than we do now.
In 1948 and 1918 and
right.
1818.
Yeah, well, drug an acceptable thing, I think you should say there. If you've got good moral and ethics, yes, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but again, I don't know the whole backstory. Again, I choose not to, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that everything he said that made me laugh as a kid was bad, or there was an agenda there, right? Yeah. Alex says, so here's an interesting perspective. We rationalize comedians as a different time. We have to say that was a time in a bubble, and we have to put that on a shelf and be okay with it. But I'll challenge you on we walk a little differently on bridging civil tension. We can't be okay with what happened long ago.
Melody Klein, good morning.
Yes, you're right. You can't be okay because of what we know now. And hindsight is always 2020.
Imagine that. And as we grow and as technology grows and we become more enlightened and pull our head out of the sand, perhaps, yes, absolutely. And the show Bridging Civil Tension, we talk a lot about that. But the interesting thing with that topic on Bridging Civil Tension on 9 a.m. on Friday mornings with Phil Wallace, you are going to find that it's still happening today. So what was happening long ago is still happening today. But it doesn't mean that if something was funny, then it isn't necessarily funny now. One of the most brilliant people out there, and I can watch his stuff today and go, God, that's funny, but people have made him quote unquote a prophet. Is guys, name that comedian.
I see him now.
I can name that comedian in 2 jokes.
He was on Saturday Night Live. It'll come to me. I see his face, and it's just one of those.
Does it scare you?
No, he's hilarious. And I think the presentism is trying to challenge that logic, is what Bill Maher is saying. We can have one without the other, but also can we? Yes, I think we can. I think we can. And it's easy to do.
One of your favorite lines, and you keep up with the news, very well, and then you find humor in a lot of the news, and I've heard you say it probably 1,000 times. Too soon,
right? Yeah.
Where something's happened, and let's find the funny in it.
Right. Let's go back. Let's go back to Naked Guns. the Naked Gun series. The spots that O.J. Simpson had in there, it made you laugh.
Yeah.
It was funny. You go back now and you go, yeah, it's still funny. Guy's a murderer, but it's still funny. But not proven in the court of law, of course, because the glove didn't fit.
That's right.
But the civil, it's interesting. I think people should just go civil first.
Yeah.
Because that one always turns out.
I think we should have jurors who are 12 years old and younger because their prejudices are just not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's, you know, that is, if something's funny, something's funny. And if you don't find it funny and I'm laughing my ass off, okay. I ain't upset about that. Nor you should be upset about me laughing at it.
Just because I get the joke and you don't?
Right. Now, if we're standing in a public place and we watch a murder and I sit there laughing, you might want to step away. Again, I would find it hard to find the humor in that, right? However, that guy laughing or gal laughing at somebody being murdered in front of you, yeah, you may, and rubbing their hands, you might want to run or call the police, right? O.J. Simpson's Twitter is the best. The way he cuts up the NFL is second to none. I don't follow. I'm not on Twitter, but I mean, I do have a Twitter thing, but I don't spend too much time on Twitter because I find there's just a lot of stupid people out there. I spend a lot of time on TikTok because TikTok makes me laugh. Say what you will, and here's the bottom line. I'm glad that the Chinese have all of my information. There you go.
That means they follow us on two bald guys and a microphone.
Shada says, ever notice prejudice is something that tends to be exclusive to others? Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Go watch All in the Family. You know, that you want to talk about prejudice. But we watched it and laughed every week.
This Winfield character, young black comedian, and Howie is just like, you can perform with me any day. And he looks back and says, "Hey, let's rewatch the Jeffersons." Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I was as a soccer coach, and I had a young black athlete.
Oh, I see. The way he cuts up the end, bada boom.
Bada boom.
I did miss it. Sorry about that.
Actually, I got it.
I did.
Young black athlete, wonderful young man, not always on the edge, and he's sitting between two of the white athletes, and he goes, "Hey, coach, what am I, or what are we?" And he puts his hands around those two, and I go, "Oh," he goes, "We're a Samoa." And I'm going, "Don't laugh, don't laugh. That is not funny."
Yeah. George Carlin. Right? Everybody thinks he's a prophet now. No, he just spoke about things. And at the time, back in the 70s and 80s, early 80s, when he was hot, there were people who thought he was funny. There were people like, ooh.
Yeah, he was edgy before edgy was cool.
And now you come in and go, that's hilarious. God, that's brilliant.
I use one of his lines when I'm talking about the combat brain training. And that line is, you know, he had these pet peeve phrases. He said, "Yeah, I found it in the last place where I looked." And he said, "Well, I'd be really worried if you kept looking after you found it."
That's right.
You know, and he'd talk about the plane, and he had a whole rate thing on radio. I love George Carlin. I would, you know,
brilliant.
We didn't have replays when you couldn't hit the backup button.
Right.
And you went out and bought the album.
Yeah.
There were a couple of country comedians my dad liked, Jerry Clower and Justin Wilson. And to this day, I can recite every one of their jokes. Because Dad, when he came in, if it was a hard day out in the farm, if the price of corn or pork bellies was down, you know, he'd come in and he'd throw on one of these country comedians. Or, you know, for Christmas, we'd buy him a new album. Yeah. And by the time New Year's came around, we had that entire album memorized. Laughter it's a powerful tool for self self-health,
Yeah.
self improvement, call it what you want. But when you can hear a good joke, my wife will be like, "Why aren't you laughing?" I'm like, "I'm remembering this one. I'm repeating it to myself.
Giving it
That
to
was
myself.
good."
Yeah, Carlin had a severe authenticity disorder. He is, and now if you go back and you watch his stuff, you go, you sit there for a second, you laugh, you're like, wait a second, oh, and he was brilliant. Yes, Blazing Saddles, hilarious. Right? But you have to like that kind of comedy. Mel Brooks is brilliant, but you have to like that kind of comedy. And back when those shows came out, those movies came out, that was acceptable and funny.
Yeah.
Now we look at it today and go, ho, you can't say that, right? You can't even make fun of that. And that's okay because times have changed. Doesn't mean that I can't still watch that and go, that's wrong, right? Laugh and go, oh man, that's way wrong, but I'll laugh at that because it's funny.
Can I repeat that one anywhere?
I mean, I still bring up the piss bucket boy at work. There are things that are funny and humorous, and if they make you laugh, it's not wrong to make you laugh. If you find it funny, laugh, right? It helps out so much. Now, what might be wrong is I laugh at it, and then I go into work and I say the joke
in the wrong
without any context or environment or from that movie or whatever, and people go, "What?" Right? Now that's probably wrong.
Early in my career, I was an electric motor salesman for what's now Dry-Silker Electric Motors in McHenry, and I had a electric motor salesman. I think he was from Baldor, that would call me occasionally, and we connected, and the jokes started flowing. At first, they were nice, quiet, clean jokes, and then he started in with some racial jokes, just light racial jokes, but he'd started in. But
is there such a thing? Anyway.
Well, today there's definitely not. But being the one-upman that I am, oh yeah, how about this one? Here about the watermelon patch, and they went on and on. Well, there's finally a chance that we're going to meet at a Christmas event that they're putting on. And he walks over to me, and he was as black as the ace of spades. Like, USOB, you baited me into this, didn't you? But we became great friends after that. It was just one of those moments in time where when he saw the look on my face, it was just that was this. I was building up for this moment.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
Oh, we're almost down to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
let's go.
Well, it's fine. We're talking about laughter. It flies. Time flies when you're having fun, right? There's truth in that. I think Alex says, I think deep down most people want to say the things comedians are able to say because that's why we laugh at it all.
A lot of truth in that.
Right. I wonder what the world would be like if we actually said the things to people that we wish we could, but only can laugh at in comedy shows. I think a lot of people have broken noses.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's if you don't think a comedian's funny, you don't go to their show or you don't watch it.
Yeah, you don't support them.
Right. So it's not that I think that deep down we want to say the things comedians are able to say. I think deep down we're looking for an escape. And there are brilliant things that they say that make us think. There are brilliant things that they say that make us laugh. What I would say is, Alex, I think deep down most people want to say the things cartoons are able to say. Doesn't matter, right? If it's animated, if it's in a cartoon, the cartoons get away. Family Guy, The Simpsons, American Dad, all these things. There are no lines if it is
animated.
a cartoon. That's all I'll say. Right? You're wrong. The restriction on expression has never been greater. Laugh at the wrong thing, and you will be unemployed. I did not. Maybe I
Why
work.
is it on in the workplace?
Yeah, maybe I work in a different place or a different surrounding. But I don't think so. Maybe the person who said it that made you laugh, if it's inappropriate in the workplace, then yes. But just because you laugh, I mean, I've laughed at a lot of dumb things at work, and it things people shouldn't have said, and I haven't been fired.
You ever laugh when it's not a joke?
All the time. Whoops, sorry. I'm just thinking of my cat video.
You remember the guy in America's Got Talent by the name of Preacher Lawson?
Yeah. Yeah.
His first skit was probably one of the funniest things I'd seen in years.
Yeah, he's good timing as well. So that's what I say, and that's why we're doing this whole series on laughter is the best medicine. Why? Because you can't be afraid to laugh. Laughter is good. Laughter is what brings people together. You know, if you when you're in court, you don't challenge the judge. When you're in a board meeting with CEO or the board of directors, you don't challenge. I mean, people have egos, and you don't challenge those things. But you could also go and say, well, Shana, if you don't laugh at the joke, you could be unemployed as well. Oh, there's a good one, boss, and you're thinking you're a moron, right? Alex says, people that don't get my movie quotes annoy the bejeekers out of me. How dare they not get my humor through the things I watch? That's in my loaf. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies, right? I don't. If I do something, I'll sit down and I'll watch a mini series. I love DIY stuff because I work with wood. You know, I love to woodwork and do things like that. So many people and on TikTok and friends and whatnot. Oh my gosh, Yellowstone. It's not a comedy, but I started watching Yellowstone and I'm like, and I love cowboys. I mean, I wear cowboy boots all the time.
I can't watch it.
And I watch it and I'm like, I don't get the attraction. And my wife goes, oh, this is just Dallas in today's version. And I never watched Dallas because I didn't like that either back in the 80s, right? I didn't even know who JR was, right?
So you don't know who shot him?
I don't. So to me, when I've got friends who can quote movies and they'll laugh and they're like, they'll look at me like, come on. And I'm like, oh, you didn't watch, the Fast and the Furious 95? No, I guess not. Or the first 94 of them. That's a brand that needs to retire. Let's just be honest with that. And again, like I told Scott Dean on his show, which is this Wednesday, is I said they should have a Jurassic Park and Fast and the Furious because both of those things there's too many of them now. Just make them go away. Let's stop doing those movies. That's all I have to say about that. That's all I got to say about that.
Gaffigan has made the top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
The top 3, Amy Schumer.
She's number 1?
She's number 3.
Number 3?
Bill Burr,
yeah.
We've spoken about, as number 2 in the world. And the number 1 comedian in the world right now is Louis C.K.
Louis C.K.?
I don't do the ratings. I'm just reading what the page says. So,
well, he's pretty hot, but I don't know. There's another guy I don't necessarily. He doesn't make me laugh.
No. So next week, Casual Pitts.
Yeah, we'll have our good buddy Casual Pitts. Now he's not necessarily a funny guy, but he is funny.
We laugh a lot.
Do a search on Casual CASUEL. Casual Pitts PITTS. He's on Forbes magazine. He's Entrepreneur of the Year.
Yes.
For Forbes. And I can't help but think that about 6 years ago, he got his start right here. I mean, it was really the Two Bald Guys brand that launched him.
Yeah, we were doing our show early in the morning over at Harvard. And I had met Casual several years before. He was back in town, and I ran into him at Trinell and invited him on the show.
Yeah.
And he showed up with a couple of just cool guys,
Yeah.
like his bodyguards. I mean, they were burly
Yeah,
guys.
they're big fellas. Yeah.
Walked in, and Casual, as he gets going, he is probably the acronym master of the world. So I'm sure we'll get a few acronyms next week on humor.
We will.
But he's got a lot of things going. He's actually launched his own bank.
Yeah.
He's got, his wife was just named Mrs. Florida, and is in the Mrs. USA contest, I believe.
Yep.
So they have a lot going on. Casual Pits, you will love.
Jen loves Louis C.K. Yeah. So that's where I didn't get that joke. Hardwood or hardwood? He says Louis is funny, but he just wants you to watch his hardwood. I don't know what that means because I don't follow him.
Yeah.
So see, there was something that I can't laugh at. I'll have to Google that. All right, listen. Monday morning is done. He's got another appointment he's got to run to. Make this week the best week that you possibly can. Let's see. Tuesday, we've got nothing going this Tuesday. Wednesday is Scott Dean at 6 from 6 to 7. And before that is questions you never thought you could ask in church. Before that is innovative strategies on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got the bare facts on guns. Friday is always loaded as usual. And but until then, folks, we ask you to laugh a lot and be good to one another.
Could we have the gun facts on bears?
Maybe.
There we go. Hey, this is Coach Bob. I do approve this message. It's time to get off the bench and get back in the game.